Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot, and today I'm going to attempt a tarot reading. Now, I haven't actually touched my cards for quite a while, actually, for months since I've been diagnosed, even before I got diagnosed in December with cancer. It's just not something that I've been drawn to. And I found this spread, of course, by Lotus Divination. Now, it's called A Period of Transition. So it was actually written in response. She had a lot of people writing to her about the COVID, but I thought that it would actually be quite good for my situation. I haven't actually done a reading yet on my cancer at all. When I did pull cards, I was drawn mainly to oracle cards, something with a lot of positivity in it. So I'm going to be using the Phalakos tarot. Actually, I was going to use the Golden Art Nouveau tarot, but this one caught my eye, and I thought I'd give it a go. If it works out, I'll upload it. If it doesn't, no one's going to know, are they? So the first question is card to define the change happening in my life, and one's just popped up straight away. Actually, kind of two's popped up. I'll go with the first one, and I'll put the second one to one side and see how we go. So a card to define the change that's happening in my life. And I got the Four of Sparks. I might actually take a photo and we'll see how we go. The Four of Sparks. So this is an interesting, because we know that the Four of Sparks, which is the Four of Wands, is a card of stability. And even though there's lots of fire in this picture, I should say. So even though at the time that I got diagnosed, that's how you kind of feel like. You feel like you've caught up, especially with a cancer diagnosis, you're caught up in a lot of fiery thoughts, and a lot of, your mind goes places where you never think it would. I mean, I know we're all going to have to die at some time, and I'm lucky enough that I will beat this cancer. I will beat it. Mine responds well to treatment. But in all that turmoil, my husband kept me strong. My husband kept me stable. He kept me grounded. So this actually, this one card defines a lot. All the fiery thoughts, all the just the not knowing what was going to happen. But he was my rock. He was by my side. And there's lots of acrobats and juggling, and it even looks like someone in the corner there that's holding a crystal, which like I've said before in other videos, I've had lots of messages that I know now were meant for me, when I did my crystal scrying. So it's quite interesting that this particular card comes up, because that's it, because you juggle a lot, you have to, it's just everything. You've got to go to all these appointments that you didn't have to have, all these tests and everything. So yeah, that it does define it quite well. So let's see what the second card one. Oh yeah, and the Eight of Cups. What more can you say? Eight of Cups, of course, because you're facing at first, when you get a diagnosis like that, you think you're going to lose your life, and I'm not going to lie. That's what I thought would happen to me, that I was going to die. I really, really did. When I used to be very severely depressed in my younger years, I used to wish it a lot, and I thought, well, there you go, Trace, you've had your answer wished. You had your wish granted when you didn't want it now, because you're happy, But no, and also the loss, because the loss as well of facing that you might lose your breasts. It doesn't look like that was going to happen now to me. I'll probably get away with a lumpectomy, but there was that. There wasn't really a grief about losing my breast. I wasn't, because I always thought that if I got cancer, that's the first thing that I would do, is make sure I get rid of the whole breast and even the other one. My surgeon was quite horrified when I said about removing. He said, I'm not going to remove a healthy breast. He just said it straight out to me. But lumpectomies have come a long, long way now. And I just finished reading a very well-written article by a doctor at a Victorian, who lives in Victorian and I'm going to forget what the hospital name is, St Vincent's Hospital, who's a breast surgeon there, who has said that it makes no difference in having a mastectomy to a lumpectomy, and sometimes a lumpectomy has a better success rate of it not coming back. So, and she kept repeating that in her article. So that gave me a lot of hope. So these two cards really sum it up quite well, because it wasn't really the loss of my breasts. I wasn't worried about that. I'm not that, attached to them. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't worried about that, but I was worried about the loss of my life. I was um, worried about how my husband and family would cope without me there. So that loss aspect was there. And of course, it's a very highly emotional time when you get diagnosed with a potentially, a terminal illness, of course, because, I mean, let's face it, some women still die of breast cancer. The only thing that I suppose saved me is what I got it early. I got it early, and I trusted my intuition because I cancelled my first ultrasound because my breast started to feel better. Because I just woke up with a sore boob. I didn't find a lump or anything. I just woke up with a sore boob. My mammogram was perfectly clear in April last year. So, and I got diagnosed in December. So, I was lucky that I cancelled it because it felt better, and then something told me to rebook my appointment, and I did, and then it all went downhill from there, basically. But those two cards really, really sum it up quite well, actually. So the next card is how I'm coping with this shift emotionally. So how am I coping with this shift emotionally? I'll come right up. Oh, this is interesting. Death. Yes, death. Well, a lot of changes, hasn't it? Emotionally, I have noticed that the first probably couple of days after I get chemo, the first chemo, like I said, was horrific. I slept 15 hours out of 24 for 5 days. I was weak. I couldn't do anything, and I felt like shit. I got depressed, and I thought, how am I going to cope with another 8 rounds like this? But if you've watched my previous video on the crystals for chemo, you can see that that's gone away. It's been really, really well. I've done really, really well. So how I've coped with emotionally, I've looking at them two cards together. I mean, the two figures on the card. I did face of course you do. You face the prospect of dying. You do. You're looking death right in the face because that's the first thing you think. So, and I just want to turn it around and have a look at it. But what I'm really struck by is how she is offering. Well, it looks like a crystal, and it looks like there's an actual figure inside this crystal, and she's holding it out to the woman with her hands up. And I feel like that this is the goddess offering me a new lease on my life. It's going to change my life, which of course it already has, but it's going to change my life further on down the track in ways that I don't know. And this card, and I'm just going to pause it for a second. This actually reminds me of my own crystal. Now, can you see that figure there? Excuse my light. Can you see that figure in there? This is a oh my gosh, this is a petrified piece of wood. Okay, so can you see the figure in there? I've shown this one before. To me, looks like the goddess. So I know that I have got my angels and guides, and the goddess is watching over me, and I have actually that facing out, looking out into this room. And this card really, really reminds me of that. I've faced my worst fears, and not only that, this is going to sound really weird, but since I was when I was a very young mother, so I was 21 when I had my first daughter, and 24 and a bit when I had my second, and my greatest fear was dying young and leaving them alone and not knowing how to cope with life. So, I was fairly young. I made sure that they could cook, they could clean, they could, do everything that they can. And that was just something. Then as I got older, and I'm talking about probably 40, 45, I started to fear death in a big, big way. Like, I was really, really scared to go to the doctor. I was scared to, and even my husband said, what the hell is going on with you? You're just scared of everything now. And it was really, really true. And then suddenly I get diagnosed with cancer, and the fear of death has gone away. Go figure it. Now I realise that it's made me change emotionally, in that the fear of death is gone now, because I really, really but I need to live more, if that makes sense. I need to get out more. Now, I can't physically go out now, I do get exhausted. I did go grocery shopping yesterday, which is only the day after my chemo, and I overdone it a bit. I'm very, very tired today. But I need to stop. It's taken the fear of death away, and it's made me actually want to do things now. Actually, I've always been a hermit, but even now, my husband will say, do you want to go and visit so and so? I do wear a mask everywhere whenever I go, and I say yes, I do want to go. You want to go out for lunch? I do want to go out for lunch. Because my appetite's okay. So now, instead of always saying no to going out, I'm starting to say yes. So facing the fear of death has now made me actually want to go out and live a little bit more, want to go out and do things a little bit more now, which is kind of really, really weird. It's just taken the fear away. And I know I've spoken before about being scared of the dentist. Well, I'll tell you what, that's taken a back seat, and as soon as this shit's over with, my teeth are getting done. So it's really, when you are faced with death, it takes the fear away, which is really, really weird. But it's exactly emotionally how I feel now. I don't feel scared of dying anymore, because I realise I've still got a lot of living left to do, but I've just got to put myself out there more. I've just got to physically go out more and not stay at home, because I do love staying at home. I do, but I have noticed lately that I have been getting bored at home, which is a first for me. I've been wanting to do things, and yeah, so but I can't physically quite yet do things that I want to do, because I can't even go out in the sun, because your immune system is not there. So even to hang out the washing, I've got to wear a hat, a long sleeve shirt, and so forth. So I can't even go for my morning walks anymore. I've really got to keep out of the sun. I've got to be very, very careful about that. So this sums up emotionally exactly what I'm feeling. I've actually been given a new lease of life. The fear of death has been taken away from me now. The fear, and I don't fear change. Don't get me wrong. I like change. I've never had a problem with like packing up and moving or anything like that. I love to shift things around the house and drive my husband nuts. So I do like change, but it's taken the fear away, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? I know. So I've gone on about that one. So the next one is, what can I do to flow positively with the change? So what can I do to flow positively with the change? Oops, that one came right up. Quite jumpy, these little cards. And this is, this says it all. This is the Four of Swords. And this is one thing that I'm finding hard, is to just relax when I need to. So what I'm going to have to do to flow positively with the change is rest when I need it. And that's exactly right. So even though I feel like I want to do something today, I can't. I need to rest. I need to relax and listen to my body, and not try and push myself, because I'm very attracted to the Two Swords, trying to burst out of that bubble, not to try and burst out too soon, to make sure that I do take the time to relax. And I'm even pull to the eye down on the bottom when I want to sleep. Just sleep, just go to sleep. So not push myself too hard. I need to treat this body now very, very carefully, and like it's a delicate orchid. I just need to relax. So that says it all, really. The next one is, I'm looking at my phone, something I need to be conscious of at this time. So something I need to be conscious of at this time. Oops. Oh, God, whole heat went in there. Reverse. There we go. I'll just turn it around. These are really jumpy today. Probably because I haven't used them for so long. So something I need to be conscious of. And of course, I've got two cards at this time. So we'll go for the first one. For the other one. Oops. Oh, they're all falling everywhere. They must have really been wanting to be read, these particular deck. I love this deck. I absolutely adore it. It's beautiful. So let's have a look. Something I need to be conscious of at this time. And this is the Seven of Cups. Something I need to... So I have to be very mindful of the choices that I make emotionally, I think. When it comes down to seeing my surgeon, because the trouble is, if you do get a mastectomy, you have to make up your mind then and there if you're wanting to have reconstruction surgery, because what they do is they leave a flap of skin there, so later on a surgeon can come along and put an implant in. Now, I've always been totally against implants because they're just the problems that women have with them, leaking and bursting. And I did overhear when I was waiting to have a mammogram, one lady who was having a mammogram, and that's exactly what happened to hers. And she said the lady who was doing it said they always see them that have been burst. So that's not something that I really want to do. So if I do need a mastectomy, I don't really want to go through reconstruction surgery, but then I'm worried if I change my mind down the track, they can't do it, because what they do is they leave it all smooth, I was just thinking of having a tattoo, a nice tattoo covering it up there. But I don't know. But it looks like now that it's going to have to, I'll probably get away with lumpectomy, which is good. So I'll have to be mindful of the choices that I make, particularly my emotional ones, which makes perfect sense. And then the second card is the Trial of Spirals. Now, trials are Knight and spirals are the Pentacles there. And the question was, again, something I need to be conscious of. So I think it's really saying not to make hasty decisions, because we all know that a traditional Knight of Pentacles is a solitary, just focusing on the pentacle, where here he is to be focusing on the words written on the bottom, which is written in blood and earth. He's not really looking at the sort of spiral he's holding in his hands. So I think this is just sort of confirming that whatever choice I make, I'm going to have to think sort of, like long and hard about it. Do you know what I mean? Not to let my emotions run away. There might be a few different choices perhaps that I can even take that I don't know yet, because it's still early days. I've only had my third chemo. I'm due for another lot in the fortnight, and then on the 8th of February I'm having a ultrasound to see how much the tumour has shrunk, and then I've got another five rounds of chemo, but instead it'll be 3 weekly, so it won't be fortnightly. So I've still got a fair bit to go before the surgery part comes, but I think this is telling me, again, it's confirming not to make hasty decisions, so be conscious of that. This is going to be an interesting one, because this question is how this change will look moving forward. Oh, and one, I didn't even get to shuffle. One popped right up straight away. The 5 of Sparks, the 5 of Wands. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Hey, a lot of fiery, just like the very first one. So how will this change look moving forward? It looks like, I have to say that I have been a little bit snappy at my husband lately, and I really don't want to be. He's been absolutely wonderful, but I think sometimes it just gets to me, hey, and I think this is really what it's saying is I have to be mindful again of that as well. So it kind of goes back to the 7 of Corals and the Knight of Spirals as well, is to be very conscious of that. So how it looks moving forward is to be conscious of not fighting and not letting things get to me, and just discussing, I suppose, how I feel, because I haven't really, like I've said, I don't need counselling or anything like, because I've had this, I've got enough support. I don't need it, but I think this is a very big change that's come in my life, and I have to make sure that I don't take it out on my husband. And I have to make sure that I express my feelings without being snappy. So I think this is really telling me, because I was only thinking about this morning, we had a little bit of a snappy argument last night over something totally stupid. And you know how stupid it was? It's where I want my hamburger on the bun. He likes to have all his filling up on the top, what you call the top of the bun, and I like mine on the bottom, and we had a fight over that. I mean, how stupid is that? So that's what I'm saying. Stupid little things don't let get to me. So so I've got to be mindful of what I'm saying. So, so just, take it easy, Tracy, don't let the little shit get to you, really, So the last card is a way I can stay positive and high vibrational. So let's have a look. A way I can stay positive and high vibrational. And again, I've got 2 cards. A lot of 2 cards today. So let's take the first one. How can I stay positive? We'll make this one here. And this is the Ace of Sparks, which of course is the Ace of Wands. And as you can see, why I really like these cards, this deck, is because the aces are in black and white, because it's things that you haven't done. It's things that you're thinking about creating. So I'm going to have to, really, on state, is be very creative. So that was my husband. I forgot to turn off my sound. But as I was saying, I really like these black and white because it's what you've still got to create, whether that, as this is the Ace of Sparks, so this is speaking to my creativity. So the question was, how can I stay positive? Since I've got 2 cards, staying positive is I'm going to have to think of creative ways to keep myself occupied, so that I don't lapse into a depression, because I have noticed I do get a little bit depressed the first few days after chemo for some reason, but it's apparently that's quite normal. You know, they give you a shit ton of literature on how to cope with the changes and everything like that. So really I'm just going to have to colour in this black and white card and think creatively of ways to keep myself occupied. I have actually brought, which I haven't done for a long time, I used to do woolen tapestries, but they've kind of they're quite expensive now, and I found this one for $10, and it's actually got a beading one. Can you kind of see the shiny little beads on it? And it's going to be a unicorn, and I've actually been doing that, and believe it or not, it's quite therapeutic. So I'm thinking of, you know, things to do. I might do a bit of colouring in today and things like that. And then to stay away, I can stay high vibrational. The card that actually come out was the Wheel of Fortune. So who knows what Lady Luck has in store for me, hey? The wheel for the high vibrational, I suppose, because I'm looking at all the things that are around her, is what I put out there, I'll get returned to me. So if I think positive, high vibrational thoughts, the creative side of me is re-spark and help me deal with some of my boredom, because I can't physically do things that, you know, some of the things that I've used to being able to doing. So this is what I'm thinking that is. And I also, because there's so many different creatures all around it, and I really do feel the support of spirit around me, all the love from you guys, all my friends, family, I do feel surrounded in that all the time. So I think that's another thing that keeps my vibrations high as well. So there you go. There you go. A period of translation by the wonderful Emerald Lotus Divination, and that was really well, because I was kind of a little bit fearful about doing a reading on the Cancer, you know, because I kind of think why I lost interest in quite a few months before I got diagnosed is because I think intuitively I knew something was coming and I didn't want to read about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me to even, when I did get diagnosed, and then to even just use oracle cards is something, because the only way I actually really use oracle cards is when I do professional readings. Sometimes I like to use one to, especially if it's been a difficult reading, to tie it off, you know, to leave it on a good note. I think my scarf has gone really, you know, I have got a large forehead. I'm completely bald now. My husband raised it all off for me because the hair was just driving me crazy, falling out everywhere, and I kind of look like Benjamin Button. Not a good look. So yeah, so I was attracted to oracle cards more, and I think that was just Spirit's way of letting me know that something was happening, but I wasn't ready at that time to know it. So I mean, I don't think you're ever ready for a diagnosis of that, but I knew I had it before. When they said about the tests and everything like that, as soon as they said biopsy, I just knew straight away I had it. I just knew it. Everyone said, you know, you'll be fine, but I knew it. So this was a really good reading to do. A really, really good reading, actually. It was quite comforting, actually. So I don't know why I put it off, but I'm glad I did. So anyway, let me know if you try it. I think it's a really good one. So this was written actually to help people cope with the COVID and the changes that are coming. But I think this is really good too, is when you have got to describe with an illness. I think this has really hit the nail on the head. Sorry, my brain is still a little bit fried, but I'm quite glad looks like I can still read the cards. So until next time, this is Tracy. Thank you for all your well wishes.